When something from the vast, dark emptiness between the stars decides to pay us a visit, it doesn't just bring dust and ice. Nope. It brings questions, it brings wild speculation, and it really holds up a mirror to our own hopes and, yeah, our fears about what's out there. So let's dive into what happens when we're faced with a true interstellar mystery. Or maybe a better way to put it is what happens when we think the universe is sending us a message? How do we react? How would we even begin to figure out what it means? That's really the question at the heart of our whole explainer today. So, this whole thing kicks off with a real life discovery a traveler from some unknown star system just blazing a trail right through our cosmic neighborhood. Okay, so what exactly is an interstellar object? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's a visitor from between the stars. It's not part of our sun's family of planets and asteroids. Think of it more like a tourist, just passing through, seeing the sights. And in July of 2025, we spotted our third confirmed one, ever. Its name, 3I/Atlas, is kind of like a little code. The 3I tells you it's the third interstellar object we've ever confirmed. And Atlas, well, that's for the survey telescope that found it. It's like a cosmic passport stamp, really. And how do we know for sure it's not from around here? The secret is in its path. It's on what's called a hyperbolic trajectory, which is really just a fancy way of saying it's moving way too fast and at the wrong angle to get trapped by the sun's gravity. It's on a one-way trip, and after its flyby, it's headed right back out into the great unknown. And, like any good tourist, this thing brought some pretty exotic souvenirs for our scientists to check out. So, by pointing our most powerful telescopes at it, we could actually analyze the cloud of gas and dust surrounding its core, that's called the coma, and we found the usual suspects, stuff like water, carbon monoxide, but one ingredient was there in absolutely enormous amounts, carbon dioxide. And this is where things get really weird. Just look at this chart. On the left, that's the typical amount of CO2 we'd expect to see in comets from our own solar system. Pretty low. But then look at the bar for 3I/Atlas. I mean, wow, it's completely off the charts. This thing is just packed with carbon dioxide. And that composition, that's a huge clue. It's like a chemical fingerprint from whatever star system it was born in. Okay, let's look at the stats real quick. The nucleus size is a pretty wide estimate, but we're still talking about a serious chunk of rock and ice. And get this, it's zipping along at a blistering 61 kilometers per second. But don't worry, its closest flyby of Earth is still a very, very safe distance away. No danger here, just an absolutely fantastic opportunity for science. But whenever something this alien shows up, our scientific curiosity is always joined by something else, something just as powerful, our human impulse to spin a story about it. And this is the question that always hangs in the air with these visitors, isn't it? Is it just a rock, a pristine little time capsule from some distant star, or could it be something more? And of course, the internet immediately started crafting some wild narratives. I mean, this quote from a Reddit user just perfectly captures that feeling of wonder. What if it's not a comet at all, but some kind of probe, a hard drive carrying the secrets of a whole other civilization? Right here, this is where the hard data stops and the storytelling really begins. And then, something happened that sent a jolt of electricity through the whole community. Astronomers listening with a radio telescope actually detected a signal coming from the direction of the comet. I mean, for a moment, I think everyone just held their breath. Was this it? Was the story about to become real? But the answer, as it turns out, was beautifully scientific and just a perfect example of how science is supposed to work. The signal wasn't a hello from ET, it was the natural radio hiss of something called hydroxyl molecules. Basically, they're just pieces of water molecules that get blasted apart by the sun's radiation in that fuzzy atmosphere around the comet. So a totally natural phenomenon, not an artificial message. Okay, so science gave us a perfectly natural explanation for the signal. Case closed, right? But that desire for a message, for a story, that doesn't just go away. It's such a powerful part of who we are. So just to see what that impulse looks like when it's totally free from any data, let's step into the world of pure imagination with a short and kind of unsettling story. So just imagine this for a second. One day, the entire world wakes up and a fundamental law of reality has just broken. People step outside into this bright, even light, but nothing casts a shadow.
Not your body, not buildings, not even mountains. Nothing.
The whole world just descends into chaos. Plants start to wither. People feel like they're living inside some flat, lifeless photograph. So a probe is launched, and it discovers this horrifying truth. Our sun is gone. It's been replaced by a massive artificial sphere projecting a perfect, shadowless hologram of sunlight.
And then, a scientist who's studying this fake light finds a message hidden inside it, a single, cryptic sentence that just shatters everything we thought we knew about our own existence. A truly terrifying conclusion to a purely imagined cosmic mystery.
Okay, let's pull back from that for a second. So on one hand, we have the real scientific analysis of Comet 3I/Atlas, and on the other, we have this fictional tale of the lost shadows. I mean, they seem worlds apart, right? But they both spring from the exact same human need: to try and make sense of this vast, unknown cosmos we live in. You see, they really represent the two main ways we confront these big mysteries. Science, it uses evidence to ask, how? How does this comet work? How did it get here? It builds these models of reality that we can actually test. Storytelling, on the other hand, it uses pure imagination to ask, what if? What if the sun wasn't real? It builds these possible worlds to help us explore our deepest fears and wonders. So here's the real takeaway. These two things, they're not fighting each other. They're two sides of the same human coin. Science gives us the incredible, humbling data about where we are in the universe. But stories help us process what it all means and how we feel about our tiny, fragile place in this absolutely enormous cosmos. And that really just leaves us with one final thought for you. The next time you're outside and you look up at the stars, what is it that you're really looking for? Are you searching for a scientific explanation for all that light? Or are you looking for a story that connects you to it all? Maybe, just maybe, it's a little bit of both.